Good afternoon everyone. In this video presentation created by Group 3, we will discuss the process of drafting the 1987 Constitution of the Philippines, a document that served as the foundation of our democracy after the long period of Marcos dictatorship. We will explore the steps taken by the Constitutional Commission, the debates that took place, and how voices of various sectors of society were included to ensure that the Constitution would protect the rights and freedom of every Filipino. So let's start. First slide. The 1987 Constitution was crafted in the aftermath of the Marcos dictatorship, a time when the Philippines suffered from political repression, economic decline, and extensive human rights violations under martial law. The dictatorship, which lasted for over 2 decades, undermined democratic institutions and left the country in a state of turmoil. In February 1986, the People Power Revolution, a peaceful uprising led by millions of Filipinos, culminated in the removal of Ferdinand Marcos and the installation of Corazon Aquino as a president. With a mandate from the Filipino people to restore democracy, President Aquino faced the daunting task of rebuilding the nation's political and legal foundation. Ang 1987 Constitution ng Pilipinas ay nilikha ng matapos ang diktadurang Marcos na nagdulot ng matinding political repression at paglabag sa karapatang pantao. Sa pamamagitan ng People Power Revolution noong 1986, napatalsik si Marcos at pinalitan siya ni Corazon Aquino bilang presidente. Ang layunin naman ni Aquino ay muling itayo ang demokrasya, kaya noong 1987, ipinatupad ang maprotektahan ang mga karapatang pangmamamayan at itaguyod ang demokratikong pamahalaan habang iniiwasan ang muling pag-usbong ng diktadura. So, next slide. Recognizing the need for a new constitution to replace the heavily manipulated 1973 Constitution, President Aquino issued Proclamation No. 3, also known as the Freedom Constitution, which temporarily governed the country while the Constitution was being drafted. To draft a permanent constitution, Aquino formed the Constitutional Commission, or CONCOM, in 1986. This body was composed of 48 members from diverse backgrounds, including former lawmakers, legal experts, human rights advocates, academics, and representatives of various social sectors. No one associated with the Marcos regime was included in the commission, ensuring its credibility and impartiality. So, matapos daw mapatalsik si Marcos, inilabas ni Pangulong Aquino ang Proklamasyon No. 3, also known as Freedom Constitution, bilang pansamantalang batas habang binubuo ang bagong konstitusyon. Para sa layuning ito, itinatag ang Constitutional Commission, or CONCOM, noong 1986 na binuo ng 48 membro mula sa iba't ibang sector. Sa kabilang ang mga eksperto. Kaya tinitiyak nito. So, the primary goal of the Constitutional Commission was to restore the democratic order in the Philippines after decades of authoritarian rule. First, restoring civil liberties. The new constitution aimed to protect the rights of Filipino citizens and ensure they would never again face the kind of abuse that characterized the Marcos era. Ang bagong konstitusyon daw ay ginawa upang tiyakin na ang mga Pilipino ay magkakaroon ng kalayaan at hindi na muling makaranas ng pang-aabuso tulad ng nangyari sa ilalim ni Marcos. Binibigyan nito ng proteksyon ng mga karapatan pantao ng bawat isa. So next, preventing the rise of another dictatorship. The Constitution was specifically designed to prevent any individual or group from consolidating too much power and to safeguard democratic governance. Layunin ng konstitusyon na ito na hindi na muling mangyari ang pagkakaroon ng isang leader na magkokonsolida ng lahat ng kapangyarihan sa kanyang kamay. Pinipigilan nito ang pag-usbong ng isang diktador at pinapalakas ang mga mekanismo para sa demokratikong pamamahala. Next, strengthening human rights. The Commission prioritized human rights and protection to guarantee that future governments would be accountable to the people and respect their basic freedoms. Mahalaga sa komisyon ang pagpalakas ng mga batas na nagpoprotekta sa mga karapatang pantao upang masigurado na ang mga susunod na gobyerno ay magiging responsable at magpahalaga sa kalayaan ng bawat isa. So, next, the collaborative drafting process. The drafting process was a collaborative effort that involved representatives from different sectors of society. The Constitutional Commission was made up of 48 members who were selected by Aquino from various backgrounds including lawyers, academics, civil society leaders, and former activists. Some members were even involved in the anti-Marcos movement, bringing a strong sense of justice and democratic ideals to the table. So, public participation. Public hearings across the country input from various sectors. Nagkaroon ng pampublikong iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa upang makuha ang opinyon at suhestyon ng iba't ibang sektor ng lipunan. Commission debates. Extensive deliberation on the structure of government and human rights. Ang mga miyembro ng komisyon ay nagsagawa ng masusing talakayan tungkol sa estruktura ng gobyerno at proteksyon ng mga karapatang pantao. Key sectors involved: women's group, labor unions, indigenous peoples representatives. Kasama sa mga pangunahing sektor na lumahok ang mga grupo ng kababaihan, mga unyon ng manggagawa at mga kinatawan ng mga katutubo upang matiyak na ang representasyon ng iba't ibang interes sa konstitusyon. So, next. The drafting process was open and inclusive, with the CONCOM holding public hearings across the country. Members of the public were invited to submit their ideas and concerns, ensuring that the Constitution reflected the will of the people. There was also active debate among Commission members, which contributed to the final version of the document. Next, the Commission held extensive deliberation on crucial issues like structures of government, human rights, and economic policies. The debates were often heated, but the result was a constitution that balanced different interests and perspectives, incorporating input from various sectors such as women's rights groups, labor unions, and indigenous people representatives.
To continue the collaborative drafting process, the experience of the Marcos dictatorship heavily influenced the draft. Many provisions were included to avoid a repetition of the past mistakes. For instance, the president was given fewer powers and the military role in government was curtailed. Next was, once the constitution was drafted, it was presented to the Filipino people for ratification in a nationwide referendum. The 1987 Constitution was overwhelmingly approved on February 2, 1987, with 76.3% of voters supporting the new documents. This marked the beginning of the restoration of democracy in the Philippines. Para i-explain, ang 1987 Constitution ay binuo upang maiwasan ang pag-ulit ng mga pagkakamali noong diktatorya ni Marcos. Nilimitahan din ang kapangyarihan ng Pangulo at papel ng militar sa gobyerno. Matapos itong madraft, inaprobahan ito ng 76.3% ng mga Filipino sa referendum noong February 2, 1987 na nagmarka ng pagbabalik ng demokrasya sa bansa. So next, let me discuss the guiding principles and purpose. Adopted in 1987 to restore democracy after martial law, reflects the ideals of freedom, justice, and accountability. A constitution by the people for the people. With the first one, democratic ideals. Sovereignty resides in the people, ensures checks and balances among government branches, promotes participatory governance. So dito, ang democratic ideals ay ang 1987 Constitution ay nagtataguyod ng demokrasya sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay ng soberanya sa mamamayan, pagtatakda ng check and balance sa mga sangay ng pamahalaan at pagpapalakas ng participatory governance. The second one is the civil liberties. Protects freedom of speech, religion, assembly, and press. Safeguards against oppression and discrimination. So sa civil liberties naman, pinangangalagaan ng 1987 Constitution ang kalayaan sa pananalita, relihiyon, pagtitipon at pamamahayag habang tinitiyak ang proteksyon laban sa pang-aapi at diskriminasyon. Next, government accountability to the people. According to this notion, the government should act in the best interest of its constituent and answer to them. To ensure that they reflect the needs and desires of the people, leaders should be open, accountable, and responsive. Dito naman sinasabi na tinitiyak ng 1987 Constitution na ang pamahalaan ay kumikilos para sa kapakanan ng mamamayan. Ang mga leader ay kailangan maging bukas, responsable at tumutugon sa mga pangangailangan at hangarin ng publiko. Next slide. Emphasis on human rights. This focuses on defending and advancing the fundamental liberties and rights to which all people are entitled, including the rights to equality, liberty, and life. It guarantees that everyone is treated with respect and decency. Dito naman, binibigay diin ng 1987 Constitution ang pagtatanggol at pagsusulong ng mga pangunahing karapatan ng bawat isa, tulad ng karapatan sa pagkakapantay-pantay, kalayaan, at buhay. Tinitiyak nito na ang lahat ay tinuturing na ng may paggalang at dignidad. Sunod naman, social justice. Fair distribution of opportunities, resources, and advantages within society is promoted by social justice. It places a strong emphasis on equity and tackles structural injustice that may put some groups at disadvantage due to their gender, color, poverty, or other characteristics. Sa social justice naman, sinasabi na tinataguyod ng 1987 Constitution ang makatarungang pamamahagi ng mga yaman at oportunidad na naglalayong tugunan ang mga hindi pagkakapantay-pantay batay sa kasarian, kulay o kalagayang panlipunan. Sunod naman, respect for individual freedom. This principle upholds the idea that individuals should have the autonomy to make choices about their own lives as long as those choices do not harm others. It emphasizes personal liberty and the protection of civil freedoms, such as freedom of speech and religion. Sinasabi naman dito na itinataguyod ng 1987 Constitution ang karapatan ng bawat isa na magdesisyon para sa sarili habang pinoprotektahan ang mga civil liberties tulad ng kalayaan sa pananalita at relihiyon. And now, we're going to discuss the key provisions and features of the 1987 Consideration.
Executive branch. The President, elected by popular vote, serves as both head of state and head of government. The President is limited to a single six-year term with no re-election. This provision was introduced to prevent the accumulation of power and abuse seen under Marcos. Executive branch. Ang executive branch ay isang importanteng pamamaraan upang pumili ng isang mahusay na pinuno sa pamahalaan. Ang probisyong ito ay ipinakilala upang maiwasan ang akumulasyon ng kapangyarihan at pag-aabuso. Ang napiling pinuno ay umuupo sa 6 na taong termino sa pag-upo bilang pinuno. Legislative branch. The bicameral Congress consists of the Senate of the House of Representatives. The Senate, 24 members, represent the nation, while the House represents local, district, and party-less groups. Congress holds legislative authority, approves the national budget, and oversees the executive branch. Legislative branch. Ang legislative branch o kilala sa bicameral Congress ay binubuo ng 24 na membro ng Senado, habang ang Kamara ay kumakatawan sa mga lokal na diretso at party-list na grupo. Judicial branch. The independent judiciary led by the Supreme Court ensures law comply with the Constitution of protects citizens' rights. Judicial reviews serve as a check on both executive and legislative branch. Judicial branch, o tinatawag sa Shanghai na panghukuman, ang isang independenteng hudikatura na pinamumunuan ng Korte Suprema. Ito tumitiyak na ang mga batas ay sumusunod sa konstitusyon at nagpoprotekta sa mga karapatan ng mga mamamayan.
Constitution puts in place checks and balance to prevent any branch of government from becoming too powerful. First, the judicial review. Courts, particularly the Supreme Court, have the power to declare unconstitutionally law or executive action that violates the Constitution. Ang judicial review. Ang kapangyarihan ng judicial review ay nagpapahintulot sa mga korte, lalo sa Korte Suprema, na suriin at pawalang bisa ang mga batas o ehekutibong aksyon na sumasalungat sa konstitusyon. Ang kapangyarihan ito ay itinatag na landmark case na Marbury v. Madison 1803. Tiniyak nito na ang mga aksyon ng parehong mga sangay ay lehislatibo at ehekutibo ay sumusunod sa mga prinsipyo ng konstitusyon. Kung ang isang batas o aksyon ay napatunayang labag sa konstitusyon, maaaring ibagsak ito ng mga korte, kaya panatilian ang mga balanse ng kapangyarihan. Second, the impeachment. The President and other high-ranking officials, such as the Chief Justice and the members of the Cabinet, can't be impeached by Congress for conduct. Ang impeachment ay isang proseso kung saan maaaring tanggalin ng sangay ng lehislatura, Kongreso, ang mga mataas na opisyal sa pwesto dahil sa maling pag-uugali. Kabilang dito sa Presidente, Vice President at iba pang opisyal tulad ng mga hukom at miyembro ng Gabinet. Ang proseso ay nagsisimula sa kapanguluhan ng mga katiwalaan ng maaaring bumoto para i-impeach ang isang opisyal. The veto power. The President veto bills passed by Congress, but Congress can override the veto with two-third majority vote. Ang kapangyarihan ng veto. May kapangyarihan ang Pangulo na i-veto o tanggalin ang mga panukulang batas na ipasa ng Kongreso. Gayunpaman, maaaring i-override ng Kongreso ang veto na may 2/3 boto ng mayora ex maximum na walang taon sa panukulan upang pigilan ang sinumpaang individual na humawak sa kapangyarihan ng napakatagal na itinitiyak ng mga demokratikong proseso na pamagitan ng regular na halalan. Term limits for elected official. First, the President. The President is limited to a single 6-year term with no re-election, ensuring that no individual can cedulate the power for too long. Second, other elected officials, senators and representatives have defined terms limit. Senators serve for 6 years and representatives serve for 3 years with the responsibility for election but limited by specific periods. Ang Pangulo, sa ilalim ng ika-22 Amendment sa US Constitution, Pangulo ay limitado sa paglingkod ng 2 termino, bawat isa ay tumanggal ng 4 na taon. Na pangangahulugan ito, ang Pangulo ay maaaring magsilbi ng maximum na 8 taon sa panunungkulan, hindi lamang isa 6 na taong termino. Ang layunin ay upang pigilan ang sinumang individual na humawak sa kapangyarihan ng napakatagal na tiniyak ng mga demokratikong proseso ng pamamagitan ng regular na halalan. Ang iba pang nahalal na opisyal. Ang mga senador ay naglilingkod sa loob ng 6 na taong termino, ngunit walang mga limitasyon sa termino. Maaaring silang mahalal muli sa maraming termino kung patuloy silang mananalo sa halalan.
The Preamble to the 1987 Constitution serve as an introduction articulating the purpose of Constitution and collective aspiration of Filipino people. It emphasized the people desires to build just a humane society, uphold democracy, and establish peace and unity. It also acknowledged the need for solidarity among the Filipino people to address the country's challenges. It simply means that it establishes the purpose of Constitution and provides moral compass for governance and decision-making, commits to promoting social justice and equality, and human dignity, upholding democratic principle, fostering national harmony and solidarity, and recognizing the importance of unity among Filipinos. Draft after EDSA Revolution, it reflects the national renewed commitment to democracy, human rights, and social justice. Overall, the preamble sets the tone to the Constitution, defining Filipino values and ideals while inspiring patriotism and national unity. This is the content of the 1987 Constitution. The Constitution is divided into 18 articles. Key articles included Article 2, Declaration of Principles and State Policies outlining the fundamental principles such as sovereignty of the people and role state ensuring the justice and welfare. Article 3, Bill of Rights, lists the civil liberties and rights the state of must protect. Article 6, Legislature. Congress define the power, duties, and composition of legislature. Article 7, Executive outline the power of duties of the President. Article 8, Judiciary Establish the judicial system including the Supreme Court. Article 9. Independent Commission focuses on commission such as Commission of Elections, Civil Service Commission, and the Commission of Audit. Article 13. Social Justice and Human Rights focuses on promoting social justice, ensuring human rights and protection.
Key points of Article 2. Article 2 outlines the guiding principles of governance. Sovereignty resides in the people. All authority emanates from them. Rule of law. The government operates under established laws, not arbitrary decisions. Promotion of social justice. Policies must prioritize equity and welfare for marginalized sectors. Environmental conservation advocates for sustainable use of natural resources. Bill of Rights and Protection of Civil Liberties. The Bill of Rights, enshrined in Article 3, guarantees freedom of speech, religion, and assembly, protects citizens' ability to express ideas, practice faith, and gather peacefully. Right to due process ensures fairness and equal treatment under the law. Protection from arbitrary arrest and torture. Guards against abuses by authorities. Right to privacy. Protects individuals from unwarranted intrusions.
Jumping on the topic wherein we're going to talk about significance and long-term impact of the 1987 Constitution. Significance and long-term impact of the 1987 Constitution. The 1987 Philippines Constitution, a cornerstone of democratic governance. The 1987 Philippines Constitution has been instrumental in shaping the country's democratic system, ensuring the transparent and accountable government enacted after the tumultuous Marcos regime. This foundational document has fostered a culture of public participation, institutionalized checks, and a power and promote in human rights. One of it, when the establishment of democratic governance. The Philippines Constitution transitioned from authoritarian rule to representative democracy, empowering citizens to participate in the electoral process and choosing leaders. Key provision affirm the people's sovereignty, establishing the foundational principle that anchored the country governance framework. Second, transparency and accountability. The Constitution of the Philippines ensures transparency, accountability for officials, emphasizing their duty to serve the people in the establishment of the office to ombudsman to investigate and prosecute misconduct, thereby mitigating corruption and authority abuse. And last, fostering public participation. The Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines guarantees citizens right to vote and participate in the democratic processes, emphasizing the importance of people, organizations, and NGOs in promoting participatory governance and fostering a sense of ownership among citizens. In conclusion, the 1987 Philippine Constitution has been pivotal in shaping the country's democratic governance. By establishing democratic institutions, ensuring transparency and accountability, and fostering public participation, this foundational document has safeguarded the rights and interests of Filipino citizens as the Philippines continues to navigate challenges and opportunities. The Constitution remains a guiding force, upholding the principles of democracy and people-centered governance. The 1987 Constitution of the Philippines was scrapped as a direct response to the Marcos dictatorship, with the explicit goal of safeguarding the country from authoritarianism. Its provision aimed to institutionalize checks and balances, decentralize power, and empower democratic institutions, while it has largely succeeded in preventing outright authoritarian rule. Its effectiveness has been mixed, especially in periods when leaders have sought to consolidate power. Instances of democratic backsliding, such as attempts to extend presidential terms of undermine press freedom, have tested the Constitution's resilience. However, the judiciary and civil society have often played in roles maintaining democratic safeguards, showcasing its constitutional ability to endure challenges. The 1987 Philippine Constitution succeeds in preventing authoritarian rule. The 1987 Philippine Constitution was born out of people's struggle against authoritarianism, specifically the Marcos dictatorship that ruled the country for over 2 decades. The Constitution promised aimed to create robust democratic system equipped with checks and balances, decentralized power, and empowered institutions to prevent the resurgence of authoritarian rule. To sum it up, the 1987 Philippines Constitution has been instrumental in preventing authoritarian rule, but its success is not absolute. The Constitution's resilience depends on the vigilant protection of democratic institutions, the judiciary, and civil society as the Philippines continues to navigate the complexities of democracy. The Constitution remains a guiding force, ensuring that power remains with the people.
Instances where democratic institutions were tested or strengthened. Presidential term limits. One of the most significant safeguards is the single 6-year term limit for the president. This provision has so far succeeded in preventing leaders from extending their stay in power through legal or extra-legal means, as seen in the failure of efforts to amend the Constitution for term extensions during the Ramos and Arroyo administrations. The presidential term limits, siya po ma'am ang law na dapat 6 years lang ang term kang kada magiging presidente. Legal man ma'am or extra legal. 2. Impeachment processes. The impeachment mechanism as outlined in the Constitution has been a critical tool for accountability. For instance, the impeachment trials of Presidents Joseph Estrada and Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, as well as the removal of Chief Justice Renato Corona, demonstrated the Constitution's role in addressing abuses of power. However, these processes have also highlighted the challenges of politicization with democratic institutions. The impeachment processes. The impeachment processes, ma'am. Siya po tong garo laman po ma'am na ang crime kang mga nasa higher up na nasa gobyerno po. Araw po katong na-impeach si Sara Duterte po dahil nagastos niya po si fund na nasa million sa perang days lang. 3. Judiciary's role in upholding rights. The Supreme Court has frequently acted as a check on executive power. Landmark rulings such as those declaring portions of former President Duterte's martial law in Mindanao as constitutional or invalidating the Priority Development Assistance Fund (PDAF) underscored the Constitution's role in empowering the judiciary to safeguard democratic principles. The judiciary's role in upholding rights. Siya po ito ma'am garon nag-a-approve, ang Supreme Court po ma'am nag-a-approve kung tama po ang magiging desisyon kang tigre-request na presidente ng gibuhon. 4. Strengthened civil society participation. The Constitution institutionalized people power as seen in the peaceful ousting of corrupt leaders like Estrada through protests. It also ensured the protection of press freedom and freedom of assembly, both critical in holding governments accountable. Strengthened civil society participation. Sinda po ito mga against sa mga presidente pong mga corrupt, araw po ni Estrada, po-protest po sinda na medyo ano po ang presidente na yan, kurako. While the 1987 Constitution has laid strong foundation for democracy, it has faced significant challenges in addressing governance and corruption. 1. Institutional weakness. While anti-corruption agencies such as the Office of the Ombudsman and the Sandibayan were established, they often lack the resources or independence needed to fully prosecute high-profile cases. Political dynasties continue to dominate local and national politics, as the Constitution's mandate for anti-dynasty law has yet to be implemented. Institutional weaknesses. Sinda po ito ma'am Fuck. 1. Institutional weaknesses. While anti-corruption agencies such as the Office of the Ombudsman and the Sandibayan were established, they often lack the resources or independence needed to fully prosecute high-profile cases. Political dynasties continue to dominate local and national politics, as the Constitution's mandate for an anti-dynasty law has yet to be implemented. The institutional weakness, ma'am, si mga ma-prosecute po ang mga high-profile cases, kaso po ang weaknesses ninda, kakulangan po sa funds, resources, and details po. Yun po yan, institutional weaknesses. 2. Executive overreach. Challenges to the Constitution arose during Duterte's administration, particularly with the controversial war on drugs and the erosion of press freedom. This highlighted weaknesses in implementing accountability mechanism and preventing human rights. Executive overreach, ma'am. Siya po ito mga lagpas naman sa mga human rights, dawa po. Dahil naman dapat gibon, pero ginigibo pa rin po. Dahil lang po sa niyang war on drugs. Araw po atong red tag po ninda dahil sa mga drug dealer. Pero nagkakasurugo man lang po itong mga pulis. Nawara po si human rights sinda para attorney, tapos shoot to kill po tulo sinda. Yan po ang pakaintindi ko ang executive overreach.
3. Decentralization and local governance. The Constitution introduced decentralization through the Local Government Code of 1991, which has empowered local governments to a degree. However, corruption at the local level and impotency in governance remain pressing issue. Ang 1991 na Local Government Code ay isang makabuluhan hakbang tungo sa desentralisadong pamamahala sa Pilipinas. Nilayo ng kodigong ito na biyang kapangyarihan ang mga lokal na pamahalaan sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay sa kanila ng higit na autonomiya at kontrol sa mga lokal na gawain tulad ng
pagbabudget, pagbubuwis, at paggawa ng desisyon. Ang layunin ay ilapit ang pamamahala sa mga tao, bigyan daan ang mga tumutugon lokal na pamumuno, at isulong ang mas epektibo at mahusay na paghahatid ng serbisyo. 4 is public trust and perception. The Constitution mechanics for transparency and accountability, such as the Freedom of Information Act, have been inconsistently enforced or delayed in implementation. This has undermined trust in democratic process and institution. Ang Constitution ng Pilipinas ay nagtatag ng mga mekanismo para sa pagtataguyod ng transparency at pananagutan sa gobyerno, kabilang ang mga proteksyon para sa freedom or information at sa mga hakbang laban sa katiwalian. Ang mga ito ay idinisenyo upang matiyak na ang mga aksyon na pamahalaan ay bukas sa pagsisikayat at na ang mga opisyal ay may pananagutan para sa kanilang mga desisyon at pag-uugali. The 1987 Philippine Constitution serves as the foundation for safeguarding civil liberties and human rights. Ang 1987 Constitution ng Pilipinas ay isang kritikal na legal na balangkas na nagtataglay ng proteksyon ng mga kalayaan, sibil at karapatan ng pantao para sa lahat ng mamayanan. Nagbibigay ito ng mga tahasang garantiya para sa mga pangunahing karapatan sa ilalim ng Artikulo Bill of Rights na kinabibilangan ng the rights to life, liberty, and property, ensuring the protection of individual basic freedoms and personal security. Ang freedom of speech, assembly, and religion, protecting citizen ability to express their views peacefully, assembly, and practice their religion without interference. Ang safeguarding against abuse by authorities, ensuring that individuals are not unjustly arrested or searched without due process. Bilang resulta ng lahat, maraming mga mamayanan ng partikular na ang mga mula sa marginalized o disadvantaged na mga komunidad ay naharap pa rin sa mga makabuluhan hadlang sa pag-a-access ng hustisya. Kabilang sa mga hadlang na ito ang kahirapan, kakulangan ng edukasyon, geographical na kalayuan, at kung saan minsan ay diskriminasyon na lahat ay nag-aambag sa hindi pantay na pag-access sa legal na sistema at proteksyon ng kanilang mga karapatan. Role of the Commission on Human Rights, CRA, and other institutions. The Commission of Human Rights, CRH, is a constitutional body maintained to promote and protect human rights in the Philippines. Ang role of Commission on Human Rights ay isang katawan ng tinatag na Constitution sa Pilipinas na paunahan may tungkulin sa pangangalaga at pagsulong ng mga karapatan pantao sa loob ng bansa, kasama sa mga tungkulin at responsibilidad nito ang pagsisayat sa mga paglabag, imbestiga ng CHR ang mga pang-abuso at paglabag sa karapatan pantao. Tinitiyak ang pananagutan para sa mga kilos na lumalabag sa mga individual na kalayaan. Pagsubaybay sa pagsunod, pinangangasiwaan nito ang pagsunod ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas sa mga batas sa karapatan pantao, mga patakaran at mga pamantayan sa international karapatan pantao, advokasya para sa mga reforma sa patakaran. Ang CHR ay gumagawa upang maimpluwensyahan ang batas at pampublikong patakaran upang palakasin ang mga proteksyon sa karapatan pantao.
Despite constitutional safeguard in the world of human rights institution, numerous challenges hinder the protection of human rights in the Philippines. Number 1. Extrajudicial killings and impunity. The war on drugs has been widely criticized for alleged human rights violations, including extrajudicial killings and lack of due process. Impunity for state actors involved in this abuse remains a pressing concern. Extrajudicial killings in impunity. Ang kampanyang laban sa droga ay matindi ang kritisismo dahil sa umano'y paglabag sa karapatang pantao. Kabilang sa extrajudicial killings ang kawalan ng due process. May malalim na pangangamba sa kawalan ng pananagutan ng mga opisyal na sangkot sa mga abusong ito. Weak judicial system. Prolonged court processes victims of seek justice effectively. Weak judicial system. Ang matagal na proseso sa korte, korupsyon at kakulangan ng pondo ay nagpapahirap sa mga biktima na makamit ang hustisya. Number 3. Harassment of activists and journalists. Human rights defense activities and journalists often face harassment, red tagging, or violence, creating a climate of fear that stifles dissent and freedom of expression. Harassment of activists and journalists. Madalas na nakakaranas ng harassment, red tagging, or karahasan ang mga human rights defenders, aktivista at mamahayag na nagdudulot na takot at pinipigilan ang kalayaan sa pagpapayag at pagbatikos. Discrimination and inequality. Marginalized groups such as indigenous people, women, LGBTQ, individuals, and urban poor communities continue to face systemic discrimination and limited access to essential services. Discrimination and inequality. Ang mga marginalized na grupo tulad ng mga katutubo, kababayan, LGBTQ+, at mahirap ay patuloy na nakakaranas ng sistematikong diskriminasyon at limitadong akses sa mahalagang serbisyo. Number 5. State of emergency measures. The use of national security laws, such as the Anti-Terrorism Act, has raised concern about potential abuse and the suppression of legitimate dissent. Statement of emergency measures. Ang paggamit ng mga batas pangsiguridad tulad ng Anti-Terrorism Act ay nagdudulot ng pangamba sa posibleng abuso at pagsupil sa lehitimong pagbatikos.
Thank you guys for listening.